Kupina kuphi emakhaya emadolobheni asekomplasta khona emalokishini ke lapho ubukela khona SABC 1 sanivusela nonke bekunene kuba wonke ke bomake baseningizimu Afrika sithi ke sanibonani siphinde sinifisela hlokotho letinhle nempumelelo sithi wishing you all a happy Women's Day. Mina ke ngisimpiwe Ngcongwane bekunene kuthenga ke imoto kuletha ke injabulo lenkulu kubantu labaningi kodwa ke uthini ke uma uthola ukuthi udlelwe ke tinsamba tetimali wasala nenkinga yodwa namhla ke sibheke inkinga ke bathengi labahlangana nato ke uma bathenga imoto lebatibone kubo social media kubo internet kubo Facebook nakuma auction nakuletinye ke tindzawo uma ke bangakabukisisi kahle asisive nakumbiko kwelesondeleke nguNobathembu Zansi.
Ukuthenga isithuthi lithuba elizisa uchulumanco kubathengi iba lithuba lokufezekiswa kwamaphupha kwabaninzi kulo mincili umuntu ude asithelwe naye imigibe engatshabalalisa lo maphupha ajika beyincindi ekhala ngelishwa ke elo libali lalomthengi waseGautini ongafunanga kuvezwa kumabona kude. Emva kokudendwa emsebenzini elinenekazi lacaphula kulo mali laphuma naye emsebenzini layokuthenga esisithuthi wasibona sithengiswa kwikhasi lonxibelelwano uFacebook. Injongo ikukusebenzisela ushishino lweteksi zohlobo lwe-e-hailing ezinjengoBolt neUber. Elinenekazi lithi latsalwa kukuba kwintengiso kwakuthiwe ezi zithuthi zithengiswa ziibhanki ezizithimbe kubaninizwa abangakwazi ukuzihlawulela.
So kube khona le endaba nomdla kuyo i-I-20. So it's na 60 kilometers we display and then okay ndifike ngalomini the registration because the registration yabo it's 5,000 the registration after the registrashile kwenzwe ke auction the end up ndifumana imoto kuba kwaku Saturday. So uyazi mos Saturday it's a half day and indlela nabo bebekhuluma ngayo ukuthi you know what imoto nansi into as long as sikunikezela amaphepha wabobonisa ukuthi these are the papers esikunikeze zona ukuthi auctionile kuyo amaphoyisa even if ekumisa you just show them the papers.
Ingxoxo ke zaqala nomfothile wavula iqonge lithi People's Auction ku Facebook egambeni kwexesha eloqonga laguqula igama langu auction cars kwingxoxo zalomfo ku WhatsApp kulonyaka uphelileyo elinene kazi lavumelana ukudibana apho esisithuthi sithengiselwa khona eBoksburg apho lomthengi wafika waboniswa eso sithuthi sohlobo lweHyundai i20 ebonakala ukuba seyihambe ikilometers ezingamashumi amathandathu amawaka 60,000 ixabiso laso liyi 176,000 rand. Zange libe sachitha xesha elinenekazi lasihlawulela imali ezinkozo esisithuthi. Uthi emva kokuhlawula waxelelwa ukuba ayalandela amanye amaphepha obhaliso lwesisithuthi khona ukuze kuyoguqula igama lomniniso apho zibhaliswa khona kwiveki elandelayo. Kodwa ukufika kwelo xesha lokuguqula ubhaliso sithuthi umthengisi waqala ukutshona evela aze nesithembiso emva kwesinye kungade kuvele nto.
Athi haya kandilibelanga. I think on a Thursday ndidrive ndibuyele back kube office ndibuza uba ile moto xa isoni ithi driver kanjani because akunanix ekhona ngakum. And abesebendenzela ki permit ye 21 days after permit ndimbuza ba mali siyenze sitshintshe disk imele senze the change of ownership ziphi incwadi zayo akunancwadi zayo.
Lo gama isaxakene nempepha waqonda ukuba makakhe aseyimoto kwiservice kokwayo eHyundai apho wothuka ukufumanisa ukuba kanti esisithuthi ekuthiwa sihambe nje ikilometers i60,000 kanti sihambe ikilometers i117,000 oko kwaba sisiqalo sengxuba kaxake yatsala ixesha kude kube yile mini sikuyo.
From display it's written 60 kilometers from kwa Hyundai it's 117 kilometers 117 I'll say close to 118 if I'm ngatsho njalo. So kube ngona ke ngoku sengiqala ndivula amehlo into ba hayibo kanti kwenzeka ntoni apha.
Wathi esajonge leyo samele endleleni isithuthi asatsho ukuhamba nangona wayethenjisiwe ukubuyiselwa imali yakhe zingaphelanga insuku ezili14 zange yenzeke lonto wasuke wamane enkinkishelo izixa ezincinane zemali ephakathi kwe3000 yokutsho kwi5000 xa ethe wanethamsanqa lokufumana lomthengisi imoto omane tshone vela emva koko wathi xa esiya kwidilesi yale nkampani afike lifike kusithiwa yathutha ayisekho apho kufuneke lihambe umhlaba wonke elinenekazi likhangela nomthengisi sithuthi nako-Facebook.
That was the day I decided ukuthi lo muntu lo uyabaleka akandinikeze all the information endifuna, andikwazi ukuyitshintsha le moto change of ownership, andikwazi ukwenza i-permit, it has already expired. Xa ndimbuza sometimes ndiyamfumana efowunini, sometimes andimfumani. Ndadecide into yoba ndizawuthatha i-tow truck ndimxelele into uba imoto ndiyayibuyisa. Even wrote an email kuyo into uba imoto nantsi ndiyayibuyisa, ndicela ndibuyisele imali yam. Xa ndifika wazothi ke ucela ndimnikeze 14 days, then after 14 days uzondirefanda.
Ithe le nkqubo yakuliva olu daba yalikhapha elinenekazi yokufumana impendulo kulo mthengisi ungafunanga kuvezwa buso. Sifike echaza into engavakaliyo esithi unenjongo zokulibuyisela imali yalo elinenekazi, kodwa uthi uye wagaxeleka ezingxakini zemali.
I am giving a weekly. I even told her to come today, tomorrow. She can collect every day. It's not a problem.
How much
As we sell,
okay.
every auction.
Uthembise nokwenza isifungo emapoliseni sokuba uza kulibuyisela elinenekazi imali yalo. Xa belizama ukuvula ityala emapoliseni elinenekazi lithi athi amapolisa awangeni indawo kule nyewe kuba sisivumelwano sabantu ababini. Ukanti elinenekazi alikho lodwa kwezi ngxaki zokuthenga izithuthi kubantu abangaqondakaliyo. Sifumene nale mbalelwano yomthengo ongene kwakulo mgibe ufanayo naye lo mthengi ubone imoto ethengiswa kuFacebook. Abathengisi bayo bathe makahlawula ideposit phambi kokuba bamzisele imoto leyo, kodwa emva kokuhlawula ideposit zangafumane kwamoto. Kungoku nje akanasithuthi emva kokulahlekelwa imali engange-21,000. Abathengi bemoto ingakumbi abathenga kumaqonga onxibelelwano lamaxesha bayakhuthazwa ukuba bahlale bevundlile kuba buninzi ubukrelemnqa obukula maqonga. Nobathembu Zantsi, Yilungelo Lakho.
Asibonga kakhulu-ke kudzase wethu lapha-ke kuNobathemba. Manje ukukhuluma kabanti ngetinto letingahambi kahle uma-ke uthenga imoto kula malanga. Asasimukele tivakashi tethu sina Lucious Bodibe lobuya-ke ehhovisi le-Motor Industry Ombudsman. Siphinde sibe na Elias Shamatla loyi-consumer activist. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure having you. You are the friends of this show. It's always a pleasure having you join us this afternoon. Welcome.
Sawubona Ralibucha.
Yeah, cool, man. Lucious, I'm sure you've been listening to this insert, and let's talk about some of the, the risks that consumers face when buying a car.
Simpiwe, the consumers buy a car in good faith. They use their hard-earned cash to buy these vehicles for a particular purpose. And now you find that there are unscrupulous dealerships that are desperately waiting for these unsuspecting consumers to prey on them. Consumers in general are laypersons. Not every consumer is privy of Consumer Protection Act. That is why when you read the preamble of the Act, it says, amongst others, that it was enacted to protect and to promote the interests of consumers.
Yes.
Yes, and various sections of the Act will tell you, especially Section 4, it will give you a list of people who can approach the Ombudsman for assistance. It speaks of people who comes from low literacy communities, people that are not able to read and write, people that it speaks of associations also, taxi associations that can complain on behalf. Now you see a list of these people. Probably these are people that are not actually clued up with the Consumer Protection Act or any legislation that protects their rights.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Now, Elias, siyathi-ke ukuthi how tempting it is buying a car from auctions, social media, instead of going directly and buying it from a dealership. Just how prevalent are cases where uthola ukuthi imoto uthenga-ke ku-auction noma uthenga-ke through social media adverts, especially those Facebook ads. Just how prevalent is the cases where consumers end up being scammed?
There are very, very many cases of such. I'll tell you why. People don't have money, or they don't qualify to buy vehicles on credit. So the little money that you have raised, you say, okay, let me check on Facebook, online, to see if I can get a bargain. And then here you go, you see a site that says bank repossessed cars or auction cars. And then they will tell you that this vehicle is worth 150,000 rand, but you can get it for 60,000, and it has gone 40,000 case. And the minute you call these guys, it's like they're gonna hypnotize you.
Right.
Because I remember a policeman who paid 60,000 rand to these guys. He was in Velcom. They said the garage is in Boksburg, Gauteng. He paid 60,000 rand for the RS3 Audi. And then when they were supposed to deliver the vehicle, they said to him he has to pay 5,000 rand for delivery. He paid 5,000 rand. Then they asked for 7,000 rand for the insurance. He paid 7,000 rand. Then they said they need the attorney's fee to draft the contract.
How?
Then he said, no, guys, bring back my money.
How?
I want my money back. That's when they switched off the phones till today.
Hi, man. You know, it's seemingly a trend. Would say about charge about 60,000. Because now I was almost a victim of that because I saw a car on Facebook on a Facebook ad, but 60,000 rand. Say hambe about 26,000 kilometers, and bafuna get. Na nathi ngicela kuyiviewer le moto qala before ngibhadala. But no, you have to pay the 60,000 rand upfront for you to be able to view the car. So ngathi lo 60,000 vele nje ngathi ifika la bayithatha khona. Because I've had so many people having lost 60,000 rand when it comes to this. So nangabe ke ngithenga imoto ku Facebook, or before ngithenge imoto ku Facebook or these social media ads, what is it that I should look out for?
Firstly, look at the pictures of the vehicles that they advertise. What they do, these guys, they take or download pictures from the reputable dealerships.
That's what they do, yes.
You'll see the background of the vehicles.
Yes.
That this one is a Mercedes-Benz dealership. This one is a Toyota dealership, the background. Then you know immediately that this is a shoddy deal. For example, if the mileage is too low, for example, if they say a Toyota vehicle that has traveled 30,000 Ks is 100,000 Ks, you know it can be. It can be. Toyota Fortuner for 150,000.
How?
It's too good to be true.
Johnny.
Yes. Then you know that if the price is too good, then
It's probably, it probably is too good.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Lucious, what do you think gives, these unscrupulous sellers the audacity to con or scam people on social media?
Look,
Like, what power do they have?
many of them are qualified in the field of law. They know the law. And it looks like they've also studied the behavior of a consumer, that their targets are not that clued up with the Act and some other legislations. They know how to sell ice to an Eskimo. But we always advising consumers. The Motor Industry Ombudsman, on our books, we have more than 15,000 dealerships, including suppliers across the country. We've recorded them on our system. So we always say to consumers, before, if you've identified a car that you want to buy, you can call the Office of the Motor Industry Ombudsman. Find out if this dealership do exist, if they are on our books. If they are on our books, do they comply with the requirements of the Consumer Protection Act 68 of 2008 and that of the South African Automotive Industry Code of Conduct. Secondly, what consumers must also find out from these people, do they have an accreditation from South African Police Service in terms of Second-Hand Good Act? That every police station, I'll give you an example, GP police station, or any police station around Jewel Street in south of Johannesburg. That police station has a duty to accredit all the dealerships that are on that main road. And they have a duty in terms of Second-Hand Good Act to visit each and every establishment after every 2 weeks, monitor their behavior and check the registers and their books, the cars that are on the floor and the parts that are on the floor, if they are not stolen and if they belong to them, in other words, if they are on their dealer stock. That is what the police must do. But we always say to consumers, before you commit yourself, you have places where you can go and ask for help. Police station, or the Motor Industry Ombudsman. You have Ntate Shamatla, he's always online. You can always bump some ideas against him. He will let you know if the dealership is legit or not.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it there, gentlemen. We'll continue our discussion in a moment. Mugele kanyalo ke asasisishelelela ngasatitolo. Please do join us after this break. Leli, Yilungelo Lakho. Welcome back everybody. Tincingo wethu sesivuliwe ukuthi nawe ungaba ingcenye yalenkulumo yethu. Sishayela icingo ke khona manje ku 011-714-6918 noma ke 011-714-6919. Ungasithumela futhi na email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Ungaphinda uhlanganyele kanye nathi ke ku Facebook. Before we get deeper into the conversation, let's now take our first caller. Sina Selina ulapha ke Sosha Nguve. Sakumoyela ehleleni sawubona?
Ninjani?
Siyaphila kunjani mama?
Sikhona sibulela Setswana nkata bolela Setswana.
Ya ungakhuluma mama.
Ke bohetsele nano la lona right now, so I'm the one who was scammed last month nami. I saw the advertisement of cars from Midval auction, and then I got the number from on the website on YouTube, like, and then I called them, and then ngababuza ngathi ngibona Ford Fiesta worth 69,000. It was 120, but it's a bank possessed car. So ngabatshela ukuthi ngiyayifuna, but you know it's fine. If I need a car, I must just send my name and my ID number, and then they will call me back. And then I gave them, I WhatsApp them my name and my surname, and they called me back and they said, okay, fine, we can see your ID number and everything. So when imoto ithi ngabatshela ukuthi imoto ngibonile nayi but I must send the car on WhatsApp, send the car on WhatsApp, and they were okay, fine. It's just a motor, and then I go auction around 2 o'clock. So what I must do, I must just they must just send me their details. I will send them my details wabo. Where bank they say bazo motor bazo stop akutinga go auction, but need 30% yemali leyo. Then I asked them how much the 30%, that is 26,700. I must pay it off immediately so that they can stop the car. Then I did that. I deposit the money, and then mantela ukuthi okay, umanager uzongifonela. Okay, fine. Ngalinda umanager angifonela. Maqeda ungifonela athi kimi okay, siyabona ubhadalile imali ingenile siyabonga. But now sinenkinga, imoto ngeke iphume ku garage ingana insurance. So ufanele ubhadala another money so that si keep bafuna imali ebank. Keep imikolo telling an insurance. And then I asked them how much is the money, but 17,000 so that I could know who process my paper. Then I said to them, okay, let me speak to my husband, and we are giving him jail.
So Labo, you were not called directly by the insurance company?
Yes, I called by this guy. I said, it's a bank.
Oh, no.
Insurance. And then I was like, how come? Because everything, the time I tell everything is all right. When I'm going to keep deposit, then you'll get the car. Even if it's deliver, I'll sell a corner, I'm getting a 5,000 transport of Vela.
Ipile moto nyalo Selina.
But you could my young story.
Pile moto nyalo.
Because I need a car. And then I did what
Ipile moto, do you have the car now?
No, I don't have the car. My money is gone. When I try to call them, their phone is off. They are not appearing on WhatsApp. Everything has been blocked. I cannot, even today, I haven't received my money. I asked them, please give me my money back. Then they blocked me. They blocked everything. So I cannot get, and they said they're from Midval auction. So.
And I want to bagu my office abo ukuthi uye wena in person.
Second.
You don't even know where their premises are.
No, I don't know them. I searched them on Facebook. I cannot find them. Even on Facebook, because it seems like search low where reception. These are amagama too. Spending cool. I told okay, let me give you the number for this lady. It's our manager. You can talk to her. When I talk to her, say in voice change. Like badalanga bantu so. Like, and I realized after everything then it's glad bone khona ukuthi ama scam. And they were phone futhi abamba omunye ubhuti athi kimi please stop calling us, this is a scam. Then I drop the phone and block at the same time.
Selina, I'm terribly sorry for what happened to you, and you are one of so many thousands in South Africa who've been scammed through these online ads. And I was almost scammed, gentlemen. But bafuna 15,000 upfront as a deposit. You just drive a moto, and then I wrote an email. I told them where to get off. But I was safe. So I mean, this is a very prevalent case, and I want both of you gentlemen
you know, abantu bafanele baqaphele. njengoba sishilo labantu bahlakaniphile and babuye esikolweni.
Yeah.
Asikhulumi ngabantu abangafundanga. And kukhona ama cases ngayofuna abantu eBinoni obaba boeMpumalanga ngathi uthenga umoto online naye. Wanikeza i-address. Ngaya kule address. Ngafika kune empty space nje. Ngabuza ama dealerships around bathi nokufika abantu bafunana nale dealer le. Sabatshela ukuthi akukhona into enjalo. It's an open space. So siyacela ke abantu bakithi ukuthi uma ufuna ukuthenga umoto abelungu bathi do needs analysis.
Yes.
Uyabona ukuthi lo moto lo uyawakhalela noma uyawudinga. Unayo imali yale moto le. And secondly, so uyibonile yini le moto le. Uyibone kuma picture noma kuma online facilities. And then vakachela le address. Noma buza ombudsman ubuza ukuthi alabantu bakhona amaphepheni wenu kuma records wenu na. And then uzobona ngeke ulahlekelwe imali kodwa manje yasiphocelela le complaint yaka mama ukuthi sifanele si acte reactively manje siyocela amaphoyisa wasevala sibuza ukuthi siniketeni i-list yama dealership anayo on your records sibona ukuthi alabantu is part of the accredited dealerships around.
Yini ke i-role ye-motor ombudsman? Do you solve cases? Do you trace these people, the unscrupulous dealers?
Look, the motor industry ombudsman cannot sometimes act proactively. We react to complaints of our consumers. Okay. So when we receive a complaint, for example, a code of conduct in industry, when we notify a dealership or a supplier of a complaint, they have a duty to respond within 10 days. So babalela incwadi ukuthi nine 10 days ukuphendula. And mabangaphenduli within 10 days, sibaniketa 48-hour notice ukuthi within 48-hour notice you must have responded. And then sibanika ne warning ekupheleleni kweletha ukuthi failure to respond to the motor industry ombudsman may compel the consumer to go to the National Consumer Commission and you may face a hefty penalty. A penalty lingana ne 10 million or 10% of annual turnover or 10-year imprisonment. But ama dealership and abantu unscrupulous, they choose to keep quiet. Manje thina as an ombud, what we do to go an extra mile, mina including njengoba ngawuhlelela ngithathe leyo file ngiyahamba ngiyobafuna.
Okay.
If base Natal noma base Cape Town sifuna ama inspectors wethu provincial ukuthi hamba liyofuna i-dealership eso. And then kaningi asibatholi. But sometimes sinoba lucky ukuthi sibathole. But some of them that are online is hardly possible that we can find them.
Okay, all right. I'll come to you, Elias, in a moment. But for now, before you take a break, let's take next caller. Sinantokozo lapha ke eThekwini sakumele hleni sawubona.
Sawubona futhi njani?
Siphilile kunjani baba?
Hayi
Siyabonga baba, ukhuluma nathi.
Ngikhuluma mina ngithi namphendise ngathi sikhathi sephathileka lapho silapho kuzo. So thina umuntu ezekujwayele ukuthi mayithenge imoto esiphume sizekolo ngoba indawo zokuthenga like indawo zokuauction aziningi like nama-garage makhulu. So ngoMeyi ke siye sakhuphuka ke sifuna imoto esiyifaka kumsebenzi lo e-hailing. So isikhathi esiningi sithethe kulokuzana internet like auction gates auction houses. So khona sayithola ke la ibika ukuthi park auctioneers. Lonke lezi syndicate bhaliwe nama-telephone numbers abhaliwe nama-directions. Mangifona ke ngifona vele ngosuku naye auction lezi ukuthi so ufuna imoto kanje imali ezama-specifications. Ongitshela ukuthi uyonza igama lakho washo ukuthi hayi no auction izoqala ngo-2 ikhona imoto kanjalo but angayenza iplani ukuthi uma ukuthi kube khona imali esifaka front leyo moto bangayifaki uyihlo ngoba wathi anginike inamba ka-WhatsApp izomthumelela iy'thombe lana phela kamnika inamba wayithumela kuphela iy'thombe kodwa-ke manje othi kushaya manje le nto ebishiwo omunye wobhuti labo balapho ngaseombudsman uma ubuka ama-advert uma ngibuka nami la background ngiyabona ukuthi se-dealership la ukuthi uma ngithumelele zona imoto efuna ipolo ivivo la kama 2018 2017 ama-trend akhe ngiyabona ngathi i-dealership yakabitabilii but
so khona lesito lowalithola lukhona lesito lowalithola wayithola le moto
hayi mina angisakuzange ngifake ngikazi isitori ukuthi so mase bethi hayi no bangangibekela yona but kumele ngikhiphe 50% deposit.
Okay.
And then ama-alamu-ke aqale ama-alambeza aqale ukuringa lapho ukuthi because uma ngiyeka kuma-auction ukhiphe mhlawumbe le ifile yokujoyina ukuthi ibe inamba yokubili mhlawumbe 5,000. So kumele ngikhiphe uhafu we-actual ukuzana kwakuzoba 3,000 because imoto yayo 500,000 bakuthi 100,000. Uma ngibuka ngiyabona ukuthi i-background hayi no because la le ndawo ebhalwe la ise-jet party ise-auctioneer house not dealership. Ngiqala-ke lapho-ke.
Okay, Ntokozo, siyabonga kakhulu ukushayela Ntokozo. Thank you so much for your call. We do appreciate your time. Please don't go away. This is a very important discussion. You can call us right now on 011-714-6918, nomagi 011-714-6919. We are sharing tips and pieces of advice with regards to what to do when you have to buy a car through auction or through social media ads. Nekuthi-ke yini ke lokumele ukuthi ukwende utivikele wena kuze ukuthi-ke ungashayeleki esakeni njengoba sesivile-ke netindzaba letiningi from the different callers. Leli Yilungelo Lakho, don't go away. Welcome back. Kumbula ukuthi tincingo tethu solo tivuliwe ukuthi nabe ungaba ingcenye yale nkulumo yethu namhla. You can call us right now. Call us studio lines on the screens right now. 011-714-6918 nomage 011-714-6919. You can email your thoughts about our programs to consumer@sabc.co.za or interact with us on our social media platforms. Now, Elias, before we enter that break, we've had so many callers, talking about the same thing and the same issues that have been faced by so many consumers. Kuthi-ke labantu laba-ke, these unscrupulous dealers, are they not traceable? Ngoba phela nangabe mina ngibhadala imali ku-bank account yakho, so will I not be able to trace you through that bank account?
Into those dealerships don't exist. These are the individual people, like God-given talent. That's the name of the person that advertises the car, saying bank repo or auction. And the bank details that they're going to give to you is a personal bank details. So what
not the company bank details.
Not the company bank details. So what's I go? I'm a prince or whatever in a certain country. My father wants to send me money. I don't have bank details here in South Africa. Can I use your bank details, please? I'm like, hey. Then he gives these bank details to the people. And the money goes into that account, and then he withdraws the money and gives the owner of the account maybe 1,000 rand. So the police are going to chase that guy, and that guy knows nothing about this.
Knows nothing, yeah.
Yes. So that's what happens quite often. So in order for you to trace this guy, that's when you can trace the transactions, because the police have to get a court order in order to access the records from the bank, and then they can trace the money.
Okay.
So when they trace the money, perhaps they can manage to see where the person has bought. For example, I've seen a case, I think last week, whereby they purchased something from Tegelot, and the police managed to nab them there.
Okay.
Yes.
So kuna na inkinga ke kuthi bantu ema dealership ba reverse ke le speedometer. Nangabe ke imoto seyihambe 150,000 kilometers. Kepha bese bas reverse athi mhlawumbe ke 80,000 kilometers. So to increase the value of le moto. How do they get away with this?
One gentleman, actually we worked on that case with the Ombudsman here.
Yes.
He went here next to JP Police Station.
Yeah.
He purchased the vehicle for e-hailing.
Yes.
So they delivered the car to him at 6 o'clock in the evening. So when he started the car, all the lights came on. He called them, they said, no, sir, it's late now, bring the car tomorrow so that we can fix it. So he went back to them, and then he bought the car for 150,000, by the way. So they said, okay, choose another car because this one has got more problems. So that's when he called me. When he called us, he wanted to choose Toyota Corolla. I said, sir, around the corner there's a Toyota dealership there. Take a picture of the disc, go with it to the service department of the Toyota dealership around the corner. He went there, they gave him the service history of the car. On Toyota's system, the car has traveled 265,000 Ks. On the odometer, the car has got 70,000 Ks. You know, that's how we managed to catch them. Eventually, we managed to get the money back, that 150,000 back.
Okay.
Yes.
Thankfully, they're able to get it back. Now, Lucious, back to the issue of the role of the Ombudsman. I'm just going to quickly go through this email that we've received. Well, I'm going to summarize it because it's quite a lengthy email. It comes from a viewer. He says that I bought a car at this particular dealership, I'm not going to mention it by name, in Boksburg in the year 2011. When I asked about the defects on the car, they promised to rectify with their workshop. And the surprise was when the car was delivered to me in defects with leaking water pipes on the engine and with oil leaks, and it wasn't roadworthy. So yena ke uthi ke what is refusal ukuyithatha le moto, and then why return ke ku dealership bahlangana ke ne financial manager sebhange ne dealership ke. To cut a long story short, now kuthiwa ke yoyilungiswa le moto leyo kwatfolakala ukuthi ke kuyilungisa kosa ukuthi abhadale 73,000 rand, and well, kuthiwa ke wayithatha le case wamikisa ehhovisi le National Consumer Commission and then obviously le motor ombudsman. Uthi ke nakasho lifile lakhe lavela la nyamalala NCC offices, and waqasha kumele ukuthi amside ke kule ndzaba lena, and he promised to help and charged him 20,000 rand. Till today akazange ayitfola imoto, akazange ayitfola futhi nemali yakhe. That's 11 years ago. We are at are you aware of this case?
Ngiyasizwa leso sikhalo. Masithola i-complaint njengoba ngishilo. Si apply umthetho obathi principles of natural justice. Nekana ngethuba le dealership ukuthi nabo basiphendulele. So i-code of conduct ibanika 10 days uku respond to the motor industry ombudsman.
Okay.
And then bese bangaphenduli, bese siya an extra mile sibakhumbuza sibanika 48-hour notice. So now in terms of i-Consumer Protection Act section 70, uma i-dealership ingaphendule noma ingafuni ukusebenzisana nawe ku process ye-ADR, alternative dispute resolution,
yes,
section 70 ithi sengayivala leyo case, sithathe ifile sinikete i-consumer ahambe ayoloje i-complaint kwa National Consumer Commission. National Consumer Commission in terms of section 71 bana a jurisdiction throughout the whole country more than any other ombud. Then they would do the same, but banabaya physically ku dealership. So it happens ukuthi abafunda ifile bathola ukuthi ngempela uconsumer unayo i-case. So bazomuniketa letter of bayibiza ukuthi a letter of non-referral ukuthi le matter iye ku National Consumer Tribunal. Uyabona manje ithatha isikhathi ukuthi i-consumer ithole i-redress because of suka kwa motor industry ombudsman, bese ombudsman ayithole umpendulo, boso yakwa National Consumer Commission basaba thatha isikhathi bayenza ama-process wabo, bese bathi okay une case lo muntu lo asihambe seko tribunal, then a tribunal nayo inama-processes. So
what if the person, tries to cut short, what if the person is not traceable? What if lo muntu ushinje nombolo akasatholakala nje at all? So where does the ombudsman come in?
Mamela ke mase sibona ukuthi le dealership asitholi. Asithi sise a dealership is somewhere in Gauteng.
Yes.
Sizo contacta Gauteng Office of Consumer Affairs. Banama compliance enforcement officers.
Okay.
Bazohamba baye kulewa address. Bazobuya bathi no sibatholile labantu sibatonzela e-consumer court yethu. If ungabatholi inkinga leyo cause thina zobatholaphi. That's why si advise ama consumers ukuthi before you spend imali yakho yenza i-due diligence. Vakachela leyo dealership noma find out from a dealership, I mean a ombud noma a police station or the local consumer affairs. Bese se Ilof extension this week, bese se Anderson Street.
Okay.
Ozolimala uma ungena kule dealership isimo sa lama avenues Anderson Ilof asikhona ukusebenza safe because a situation lapha leya a situation ifuna amaphoyisa namasoja.
Yes. Yes.
Uyabona mawungena bathengisa imoto, bathengisa inkukhu, bathengisa amafriji on the same floor, but awazi ukuthi uconsumer ungene kanjani. Uyabona ngikutshela stories siye Ilof extension siye Anderson Street siye khona so yenza inspection. Ngeke uyehle emotweni wakho uthi uzongena ku dealership uzosolve inkinga bacishe baphula le window le moto yami.
Ha.
lawo ma-dealerships.
Hayi no asishiyeni lapho gentlemen. Kepha Elias uthebo bani bo God given talent. Alright, let's take another commercial break. Ungasanyaka ke mbukeli siyabuya khona nyalo. Leli Lungelo Lakho. Our phone lines are still open for you to share your thoughts and ask any questions. This is your right. Lungelo Lakho. Welcome back, everybody. You can call us right now on 0117146918 noma ke 0117146919. Lethi ke dincingo tethu vitala phake e-studio. Ungasishayela uvakalise umbono wakho, ungabuta futhi nembuto and even share your thoughts or tips. Kubo bonke ke lababukela ke SABC1 right now. Ungasithumela futhi ne-email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Ungasithola futhi na ku Facebook. Now, Lucious, back on the issue of the role of the Ombudsman. Do you guys go door to door? Nibuke ukuthi ema dealership aya comply yini nemithetho yetimoto nemithetho nje generally wema consumers?
Simpiwe, Section 16 of the South African Automotive Industry Code of Conduct requires us to do ongoing consumer awareness and education, and also dealer and supplier education.
Yes.
So we do, on regular basis, do compliance visits on the automotive industry, new and used, importers of engines, importers of parts, engineering shops. We do that on regular basis. We walk door to door. We also do it from province to province. I can give you an example. Last month we spent a week in Northwest doing door to door, despite the adverse conditions. But we made it a point that everywhere where we went, we checked the signages around the dealership. These signages like no refunds that are not in line with the principle of Consumer Protection Act. Things like you park your car or you leave your car at your own risk. Those are not in line with the Consumer Protection Act. So we do dealer visits from time and again. Like I was doing dealer visits on the south of Gauteng last week. We were checking on all the importers of parts and engines. And then we did that successfully. We showed them that the terms and conditions that are displayed on your walls are not in line with the principles of the Consumer Protection Act.
Okay.
Especially the importers of used engines, that they importing used engines from overseas. In terms of the Consumer Protection Act, if I remember well, Section 25 speaks of grey imported goods. Now, I was showing the gentleman that in terms of Section 25, these parts or these units must have conspicuous notices on them to alert a consumer that I am not the manufacturer or the producer of this, and it was not locally produced, so that the consumer can make an informed decision. And Section 49 of the Consumer Protection Act also says you must put a notice outside that actually tells the story of what you're selling inside this premises. It says the consumer must be able to see and read that condition before she or he enters the premises. Now, ukuthi consumer ikwazi ukuthi no ngiyangena la noma ngingeni.
Okay.
Kodwa abanye bathatha lama signages bayafitha lemuva babaqeda ukushayisa ngomoto wakho during service bathi buthi hey sinama news for wena. Umuntu bekathi uyareverse bamba umoto wakho hamba yolungisa. Consumer Protection Act Section 54 uthi unelungelo lokuthi uthole umoto wakho back.
Okay.
The way ushiye
ngakhona, yes.
Yabona. So also when you go to electronic auctions, it's not a wrong thing to buy a vehicle on an electronic auction. It is there in the Consumer Protection Act. It's there on the regulations. The regulations gives a guideline to the auction houses as to what format must this auction take place. Amalungelo we-consumer, ukuthi consumer ufanele akhona ukuthi access ama-auction rules a day before the auction.
I see.
And that's why umuntu maka complain ngemoto ayithenga ku-an electronic auction, I complain ku-Ombudsman. Sicela i-auction house to give us the rules of the auction.
Okay.
Ukuthi sibone ukuthi bavumelene kanjani.
Let's leave it there for now. We'll take our next caller. Kunanjabulo ke lapha ka-Ulundi sakumele hleleni sawubona.
Unjani bhuti wami?
Siphilile kunjani baba?
Ngiyaphila.
Khuluma nathi baba.
Yes, ngifuna ukwazi la ngathenga imoto kuthiwa nama dealership eBinoni ebizwa ngeEms Lifestyle eBinoni. I bought EML 63 AMG. Mabe ngithengisela imoto, I paid about 140,000 cash ngayithatha imoto. Immediately ngihamba nayo imoto. The car gave me a problem because ngathi mangifika ePitori because mina ngenze ePitori. Mangifika ePitori imoto yangasifuna ukustart.
Same day uthengile.
Yayine problem ne-fan belt. Ngabafonela. I had to hire i-tow truck ukuze ngihambise abazoyikhandisa khona ngabatshela. Bathi bona bazothumela umechanic wabo. Akafika ngaze ngihamba ngoyikhanda emidrand. Imoto yangicharge almost 40,000 again. I paid that money ukuthi bayifix only to find ukuthi ne-alternator yakho iphukile. I paid about 16,000 for a brand new alternator senguthenga kwa Mercedes Benz. Ngayithatha sengiyilungisile ngayibuyisela khona. Ngathi no guys, give me another car. Ukuze ngizokwazi ukuthi ngibe comfortable. Imoto sengiyilungisile ngikhamba kwami. But le moto still mangihamba ngayo iyajeka okukhombisa there is a problem with the car. But those Indian guys, they fought me bangishaya ngekhiye zemoto kwathiwa ngiphume la kwi-dealership yabo. Ngangazi ukuthi ngizophuma ngishonephi ngathi mina no, I'm gonna call car ombudsman because lento enyenzayo ayivumelekile. Wathi lona go ahead, you can call them sibone ukuthi bani ozowina icase. Nga-end up ngiyiyeke kanjalo imoto.
Just out of interest baba Njabule lapha ingabe na uyithenga le moto bowukhona yini umthetho labathi footstools noma ke as is law bakutshela ngawo?
No, ungekho lo mthetho lo. Imoto izinto eziningi ngangeyithola ukuthi yayinama faults ngayo. Inenkinga iradiator yakho yayivuzisa amanzi. I had to buy a new radiator. Everything engayithenga kule moto was brand new. Sengiyilungisa. I ended up paying over 120,000. Kade ngiyithenge mina ngo140,000.
Injani le moto nyalo?
I ended up paying more.
Injani le moto nyalo?
But mase ngibuyisela emuva bayinqaba.
Injani le moto nyalo baba Njabule?
That Indian guy wangishaya ngikhiya.
Injani le moto nyalo?
Sorry but
injani le moto nyalo simo sayo?
Yona body wise right.
Sisayisho kona ukuthi isasebenza, are you still using it?
No, I'm not using the car. The car is parked. Angiyenzi lutho.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu ukusishayela ke tina intetho ke titawuzama ukucacisela kulo ndzaba leyo. Please tune in to SABC 1. Asasasikhethule ukugcina ke bekunene hlala kanye naso ungasanyakade. Welcome to a very final segment sesinyuniversity kepha ke sitawuchubeka siqoshe lokho lokuncane lesekusele. Gentlemen, ngifuna ukuthi sikhulume ke ngendaba ye footstools law noma ke the as is law. Ukuthi ke I suppose it's tricky in this particular instance. Ukuthi ke imoto dayithenga njengoba injalo and in this particular instance bese ke ama dealership aba protected, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Elias.
What happens is that the CPA does not allow footstools except at the auction.
Okay.
If we have Zambezi, all those garages, they use the words like you are buying the car as a scrap. They will use the words like you are waiving your rights, you are not going to claim the repair of the car.
But is it provided for you?
No, it's illegal, it's unlawful.
Of course. Simple. Consumer Protection Act, Section 55, which unelungelo lokuthengiswa umoto or in good working order, Yes. Uthi lo moto lo ufanele uqine and ufanele ube durable and must meet the intended purpose. If uthenga umoto as is noma kanjani, Section 55 subsection 6 it a dealership in a duty to give you a list of everything that is wrong on your motor. Kodwa ke asithi uyithenge injalo. If kwenzekala ukuthi nike inkinga within 2-3 weeks or a month, we will invoke Section 55 subsection 2.
So if a dealership inika ke list yato tonke tingeta le moto yini kumele singwede, who bears the honors of fixing those defects?
Is allowed. If iphuka le moto within a month or two, we will then invoke Section 55 subsection 2. We'll ask you a question, will you deal? Did this vehicle meet the intended purpose? was it durable or usable for a reasonable period of time, which the answer is no. So now we invoke section 56, 6 months warranty ukuthi labantu bafanele bayilungise leyo moto. Yabona. And go case yaka baba lo bakafonile. Le moto was uneconomic to fix. The minute ubona ukuthi uthenga imoto for 100,000 and ama cost wokulungisa is 50,000, that is a straightforward case, a cancellation of the deal, because le moto is uneconomic to fix. Ngingabuza omunye mama ngamtshela kathi mama uthi uyayithanda le moto kodwa bathi i-gearbox yakhona idura ukundlula umoto itself. So it's uneconomic to fix. Le deal iyakhanselwa claro.
Shose Njabulo ke angenta njani?
Unjabulo angazi ukuthi uyithenge nini le moto. Ngiyafisa ukuthi and it's my wish ukuthi a 6 months warranty is still valid noma uyithenge within this year. Anga ya ku motor industry ombudsman of South Africa noma angaya ku consumer affairs yase Gauteng.
Awusitse ke fahla nginombolo tel office leni.
Yes. Sina if online manje he can go info@miosa.co.za or 010-590-8713.
Awuyiphinze futhi?
Info@miosa.co.za or 010-590-8713.
Okay, now Elias, kuyangani ke ukuthi ke ma consumers athenge noma ke akhona ukuthenga imoto nema dealerships now akhona ukuthengisela ama consumers imoto without the proper documentation, and in the same breath yini ke lokudzingekako, what is it that I should look out for? Yini lama documents ekumele ukuthi ngiwacele before ngithenge leyo moto?
Not his documents, the certificate of ownership that bears the title holder of the vehicle. Sometimes it happens that they sell the car that is owing to the bank. And they want to settle the bank first with your money. But eventually they don't settle the bank, and when you are driving the car, the bank comes and repossesses the car from you.
From me, yes.
It has happened in Mpumalanga on 2 consumers.
Okay.
Yeah. Secondly, what I wanted to say is that in Zambezi, all those dealerships there, except the franchises, all those dealerships, they use an invoice as a contract.
Okay.
There's no agreement of sale.
Yes.
There are no terms and conditions. It's just an invoice.
How?
If you go to Zambezi and buy the car from Zambezi, you are going to sign an invoice, and that's what you have. And then in that invoice, they say to you, this car is a scrap that you have just bought. And they don't allow you to go to the ombudsman, because in a way they are saying it's footstools, because they say they are saying it's a scrap. So what I would say to you is that if you go to the dealerships like that, and they, by the way, they use the caravans as premises. When you go the next day to fetch your money, they have towed away the caravan. They're no longer there. So what I'm going to do with Mr. Ombudsman here, tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm taking him to Zambezi. There are 2 consumers. One lady from Mpumalanga bought Amarok, VW Amarok for 250,000 cash. She didn't even reach Mpumalanga. She slept on the way, and then she towed the car back. Till today, they never gave her money back. They kept the car. The other lady bought H1 bus for 350,000 cash from divorce settlement, and they haven't fixed it, and they do not return the money.
Let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a great pleasure.
Siyabonga kakhulu ukuhlanganyela nathi. And ke ma consumers apha so bheke naba laba sebenzela kuma caravan but the market ma office abo ngichoke.
Mabafune isayini
la ma choke dealership basphone people. Akembuka tsosi kanjalo baphethe lenhlelo lethu namhlanje be thank my studio guests for their valuable time. Ngithanza bonga kanye nani ke babukeli ngekuba nathi kuze kube ngimanje asihlangane futhi ke kulesikhathi lesitako lapho ke sitobe sinilethela ke lelinye ke lindzaba lelithinta wena nemalungelo akho njengemthengi. From Miss Mphiwe Ngongwane and the rest of the team, sithi happy Women's Day to all the fabulous, phenomenal women out there, and wishing you a great time. Cheers.